Hey everyone, welcome to my channel Dental Edge. I am Dr. Bhanujak. I'm an MDS in oral pathology and today I'll be discussing with you MCQs from the chapter Odontogenic Cysts and Tumors in Oral Pathology. Now these MCQs will be helpful for anybody preparing for MDS NEET examination, any other dental competitive examination or a BDS student preparing for oral pathology. So let's get started. The first MCQ is ameloblastoma most commonly occurs in. So ameloblastoma, it's a commonly asked odontogenic tumor. Now among the maxilla and mandible, ameloblastoma is more commonly seen in the mandible. So mandible is a common site. And in mandible also the common site is molar angles ramus area. So this area, the third molar area, is more commonly affected. So as you can see, mandible more than 80% cases, and in mandible also molar angle ramus 3 times more common than premolar and anterior region. So if we see the options, we will cancel the options maxilla, and the remaining two options are mandibular molar region and mandibular premolar region. Among these, as we have seen, the answer is mandibular molar region. So the correct answer is A, mandibular molar region. Let's see the next MCQ. Compound odontome shows on a radiograph as. Now before that you should know what is a compound odontome. So odontome, it's an odontogenic tumor or it is also considered to be a hamartoma. Now you should, if you remember the classification of odontogenic tumors, it will be quite helpful for you. So if I just brief you the odontogenic tumor classification, it is divided into two parts: benign tumors and malignant tumors. In benign tumors, now there are three categories. Tumors that originate from odontogenic epithelium without the odontogenic ectomesenchyme or the connective tissue. Then tumors that arise from the odontogenic epithelium and odontogenic ectomesenchyme with or without hard tissue formation, and tumors that arise from the odontogenic ectomesenchyme with or without included odontogenic epithelium. These are the three categories. Now the odontome, it falls in the second category, that is tumors that arise from the odontogenic epithelium with odontogenic ectomesenchyme. Now odontome, as you can see in the classification, they are of two types: complex and compound odontome. So what are complex and compound odontome? Compound odontome are when the odontome, it has some resemblance to rudimentary teeth, that is the tumor, it has some resemblance to teeth, then it is called as compound odontome. So some morphologic similarity to at least rudimentary teeth. These compound odontome, they are more common, so they are more common and they are much smaller than normal or typical teeth, right? Coming to complex odontome. Complex odontome, it's a disorganized dental tissue mass. So disorganized hard tissue mass, no morphologic similarity to even rudimentary teeth, and it is less common. So there are two types of odontome: compound and complex. Compound are more common, complex are less common. Compound, they have some resemblance to rudimentary teeth, they are smaller in size than typical teeth. Complex odontome, it's a disorganized hard tissue mass. So when we see under a radiograph, compound odontome will have some similarity to normal teeth. So compound odontome, it appears as variable number of tooth-like structures, although much smaller than tooth-like structures, with same peripheral outline. They can be few to several dozen in number. If you can appreciate in this radiograph, this is a compound odontome having a common peripheral outline and small tooth-like structures. That is, they have some resemblance to tooth, but they are much smaller than normal tooth. So it is a few or several dozen in number. If we see complex odontome, it appears as irregular mass of calcified tissue surrounded by a narrow radiolucent band. So if you can see, this is a disorganized mass is there, calcified tissue is there surrounded by narrow radiolucent band. So from this now we know the answer. Compound odontome shows on a radiograph as, so compound resembles teeth. Supernumerary teeth, no. Radiolucent and radio-opaque areas, no. Masses of calcified areas, no. Distinguishable tooth-like structures. So compound odontome is distinguishable tooth-like structures. Small tooth-like structures, few to dozen in number, will be a compound odontome. So the correct answer is D, distinguishable tooth-like structures. Let's go to the next MCQ. Lees-Gang rings are found in. Now, what are Lees-Gang rings? So, these are concentric rings are called as Lees-Gang rings. So, if you can appreciate here, concentric rings are called as Lees-Gang rings, right? So, where are Lees-Gang rings seen? So, in calcifying epithelial odontogenic tumor, that is CEOT, or other name is pin box tumor, there is presence of a eosinophilic material which resembles amyloid. This amyloid has a tendency to calcify in the form of concentric rings. Therefore, we can say that Lees-Gang rings are seen in CEOT. Now, if I show you histopathologic image, this is the histopathologic image of a CEOT, calcifying epithelial odontogenic tumor. If we just summarize the histopathology, there is presence of epithelial tumor cells. There are presence of epithelial tumor cells, amyloid staining deposits. These eosinophilic deposits, these are amyloid staining deposits, as you can appreciate here in this image. These amyloid deposits, they have a tendency to calcify, and in which pattern? In concentric rings, therefore which are Lees-Gang rings. Therefore, Lees-Gang ring calcification is seen. So, if you can appreciate, this is concentric ring calcification. So, Lees-Gang ring calcification is seen in a tumor which is an odontogenic tumor, that is calcifying epithelial odontogenic tumor, or a CEOT. So, Lees-Gang rings are found in, the correct answer is C, calcifying epithelial odontogenic tumor, or CEOT. Coming to the next MCQ, potential complications of a dentigerous cyst. So, dentigerous cyst, it's an odontogenic cyst. Now, you should remember the complications of a dentigerous cyst. There are 3 complications. A dentigerous cyst may convert into an ameloblastoma. This is first. Then you should remember epidermoid carcinoma, and third, mucoepidermoid carcinoma. So, from the lining epithelium or from the rest of odontogenic epithelium in the connective tissue wall, there can be formation of ameloblastoma, epidermoid carcinoma, and mucoepidermoid carcinoma. So, what are the complications of a dentigerous cyst? Ameloblastoma, yes, ameloblastoma can be a complication. Epidermoid carcinoma, yes, it can be a complication. Mucoepidermoid carcinoma, yes. So, the D option, all of the above, is the correct answer for this question. Let's move to the next MCQ. The cyst that remains behind in the jaws after removal of the tooth is, so let's see the options. Lateral periodontal cyst. Now, lateral periodontal cyst, if I brief you, it's a cyst that originates from the epithelial remnants in the PDL, and it is associated on the lateral aspect of the root with a vital tooth, root of a vital tooth. So, this is not a cyst that remains behind after removal of the tooth. So, it is associated with root, lateral aspect of root of a vital tooth. So, this is not the option. If we see the other 2 options, radicular cyst and residual cyst. So, radicular cyst, this radicular cyst, it is the, remember, most common odontogenic cyst or most common cyst. Now, radicular cyst is most commonly associated with caries process. So, if there is a tooth structure which has got caries, these caries, they will lead to inflammation of the pulp. The toxins that release, they form a cyst at the periapical region. Therefore, it is called as a radicular cyst or a periapical cyst. This cyst is called as a radicular cyst. So, this cyst is associated with a non-vital tooth, a tooth that has become non-vital. Usually it is at the apex, sometimes it is at the lateral aspect if the toxins they exit from a lateral accessory canal, but usually this is a cyst present at the apex of the tooth and the tooth has become non-vital. The third option given is residual cyst. Now what is a residual cyst? If this tooth is extracted and the cyst remains behind, then it is called a residual cyst. So if you can see in this option, periapical cyst or radicular cyst, it is a cyst at the apex of the tooth and these are toxins exiting from the tooth. And residual cyst, it is a cyst that remains behind. If the tooth is extracted and the cyst remains behind, then it is called as a residual cyst. So what was our question? The cyst that remains behind in the jaws after removal of the tooth is a residual cyst. So the correct answer is C, residual cyst, right? Let's go to the next MCQ. The most aggressive and destructive cyst among these, which is the most aggressive and destructive cyst? So periapical cyst, that is a radicular cyst. No, it's not very destructive. Not globulomaxillary. No. Nasopalatine. As I told you, dentigerous cyst, it has the capability to increase in size, causing bone expansion. It can even cause hollowing of the entire ramus up to the coronoid or condylar process. So dentigerous cyst is aggressive and destructive sometimes, and I told you that it has 3 potential complications. We already read about it. It can lead to ameloblastoma, it can lead to epidermoid carcinoma, and it can lead to mucoepidermoid carcinoma. So among these, the most aggressive and destructive cyst is B, dentigerous cyst, right? Coming to the next MCQ, all of the following are tumors of odontogenic origin except. Now again, you should remember classification of odontogenic tumors, so you will get this answer. Now the first option is acanthomatous ameloblastoma. Now ameloblastoma, it's an odontogenic tumor. Yes. Acanthomatous ameloblastoma, yes, it's an option. Ameloblastoma, it has 6 histopathologic subtypes. How will you remember the histopathologic subtypes of ameloblastoma? I'll help you with it. Remember this image. These are famous personalities doing belly dancing. So remember this. Famous people are great belly dancers. Famous people are great belly dancers. Remembering this image, you will be able to remember this. From this, you will remember the 6 histopathologic subtypes of ameloblastoma. What are they? From the F of famous comes follicular. From the P of people comes plexiform. From the A comes acanthomatous. From the G comes granular cell. From the B comes basal cell. And from the D comes desmoplastic. So famous people are great belly dancers, follicular, plexiform, acanthomatous, granular, basal cell, desmoplastic. These are the 6 subtypes of histopathologic subtypes of ameloblastoma. Now which one is asked, mentioned in our question? In our question they have mentioned acanthomatous. So acanthomatous ameloblastoma, yes, it is a type of odontogenic tumor. Branchial cleft cyst, we'll come to it later on. Myxoma, again, if you remember this classification of odontogenic tumors, myxoma, it falls in the category of benign tumors. This is myxoma, right? So myxoma, it is an odontogenic tumor. Remember this classification from Sheffer, it is given. So this is also included, and simple ameloblastoma, it is also there. So branchial cleft cyst, it is the option left. This is a congenital anomaly and it develops from the pharyngeal remnants or the pouches. So correct answer is branchial cleft cyst. It's not an odontogenic tumor. The rest all are odontogenic tumors. Coming to the next MCQ, the epithelium of a dentigerous cyst is. Now what is a dentigerous cyst? If we see the definition of a dentigerous cyst can be defined as an odontogenic cyst. So it's an odontogenic origin that surrounds the crown of an impacted tooth. So if this is a mandible and there is an impacted tooth here, The dentigerous cyst, it surrounds the crown of an impacted tooth. So this is the dentigerous cyst which surrounds the crown of an impacted tooth, caused by fluid accumulation between the reduced enamel epithelium and the enamel surface. So why is this cyst formed? There is fluid accumulation between the reduced enamel epithelium, this is the reduced enamel epithelium, and the enamel surface, resulting in a cyst in which the crown is located within the lumen. So this is a cyst in which the crown is located within the lumen of the cyst. So coming to the histopathology of a dentigerous cyst, as I told you, it is formed by fluid accumulation between the enamel surface and the reduced enamel epithelium. So the epithelium lining, which is in fact reduced enamel epithelium, consists of 2 to 4 cell layers of flat or cuboidal cells, a thin layer of stratified squamous epithelium lining the lumen. So if this is the epithelial lining, this is a thin epithelial lining. Actually, this is the reduced enamel epithelium that surrounds the crown of a tooth, between which and the enamel surface fluid has got accumulated and the cyst is formed. So it is 2 to 4 cell layer thick. So the question is, the epithelium of a dentigerous cyst is 15 to 20 cell thick. So this is incorrect. 6 to 10 cell thick? No. 1 to 2 cell thick? No. What is the answer? It is 2 to 4 cell layers of thickness. So the correct answer is C, 2 to 4 cell layer thick. So to brief, dentigerous cyst, it is a cyst that surrounds the crown of an impacted tooth, and it is formed due to fluid accumulation between the enamel surface and the reduced enamel epithelium. So the epithelium is reduced enamel epithelium, which is 2 to 4 cell layers thick. So correct answer is C. Most common odontogenic cyst is, I already told you, it is a radicular cyst or a periapical cyst. So let's see the options. Primordial cyst, no. Dentigerous cyst, no. Radicular cyst. So C is the correct answer. If I brief you about radicular cyst, if this is a tooth structure and there is the most common cause for radicular cyst is dental caries. So if there is a caries process, the toxins, they exit from here and then a cyst is formed, which is called as a radicular cyst. It is also called as a periapical cyst. It is present at the apex. So periapical cyst, apical periodontal cyst, or a root end cyst. This is the most common odontogenic cyst or most common jaw cyst is a radicular cyst. So the correct option is C, radicular cyst. Let's see the next and the last MCQ. Robinson's classification of ameloblastoma does not include. You should remember there is a definition given by Robinson for ameloblastoma. It's a very important definition. What is that definition? This is the definition. According to Robinson, tumor that is unicentric, non-functional, intermittent in growth, anatomically benign, and clinically persistent. This is the definition of an ameloblastoma. How will you remember these terms? Remember this. Uniec. For U stands unicentric, N stands for non-functional, I for intermittent in growth, A for anatomically benign, and C for clinically persistent. Now let's relate it with our question. So Robinson's classification of ameloblastoma does not include. So anatomically benign, yes, it is anatomically benign. A stands for anatomically benign. Clinically persistent, yes, C stands for clinically persistent. Non-functional, yes, N stands for non-functional. And multicentric, no, he gave that it is U, unicentric, right? So which of them is not included? So the option A, multicentric, is not included. So we are done with some important MCQs from the chapter for odontogenic tumors and cyst. I hope these MCQs help you. If you want more such discussion on MCQs, do let me know your suggestion in the comment box. Also, do subscribe to my channel if you want more such lectures. It takes lots of effort to make such videos. Your one like can give me lots of encouragement. So do like the video, subscribe to my channel and keep watching. Thank you.